we want to know how you're all feeling. So please drop 3 emojis in the chat, respectful emojis, of course. 3 emojis in the chat letting us know, how are you feeling today? We want to check in. We know that you all have a lot on your plate. There's a lot going on in the world, so we want to make sure we are checking in to see how you're feeling. Okay, so Nehemiah, okay, got 100%, a smile and a thumbs up, okay? All right, Snigda, I see that. Oh, sleepy. Yeah, understandable. Something about the cold, right? Even my coworker was saying he was a little sleepy today. I was like, I think the cold weather brings on a sense of coziness. Thank you, Ichi. Thank you. Thank you, Excel. Nabiha, I see your comment. Catherine, thank you, Ali. Ali, your third one came in as a question mark. I guess it's not an emoji available on Zoom. Malena, oh no. I'm sorry to see that you have a crying face. Well, let us know if there's anything we can help you with. All right, Aurora, smiley face. Uh-oh, Michael, you're not feeling well? Sorry about that. Maybe the monkey covering his ears, is that an ear infection? Sorry about that, buddy. All right, well, thank you all for answering that. I'm so excited about tonight's class. I know you will enjoy it. I'll make a very quick announcement before we turn it over to Miss Tamara. Just note that this week is a full week of classes, and by full, I mean there's one additional class this week, which is tomorrow. So if you've been checking the schedule in your email, tomorrow there's an additional class. That's with Miss Shakira. So that's fundamentals of budgeting. Tonight is fundamentals of banking and financial management. And then on Thursdays, you have Pitch Perfect. So there's 3 classes this week. So tonight is from 6:30 to 8, tomorrow 6:30 to 7:30, and then Thursday is 6:30 to 8. So please make note of that. We want to see you tomorrow. We want to see you Thursday. We want to see you here tonight engaged. Please, please be engaged. As I said, this is going to be a great class. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Miss Tamara.
Thank you, Latoya, and good evening, everyone. Good evening, scholars. Thank you all so much for having me. My name is Miss Tamara. I am a community manager for Chase Bank. I'm sure that you've heard of many, many roles throughout the bank in terms of maybe a branch manager, teller, even banker. But my role is pretty much more of an extension in the branch. So I am able to work with directly with the community, work with nonprofits like S.O.A.R, being able to teach classes on budgeting, saving, credit, which we'll all be going over this evening. I am so happy to be here with you all. I definitely did want to start a little bit with introductions. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and then all of you will tell me a fun fact about yourself. We can definitely either use the mute or use the chat feature. I can say that professional wise, I've been with Chase for 3 years, but I've been in banking for 11 years. I really love and enjoy what I do. When I was your age, I did not know much about money management. But when I started working in banking in 2013 is where I learned everything about the finances. And I promise that it will come in handy some point in time in your future if it's not already starting now. So we can do Hollywood Squares and start to give say our name and also a fun fact about ourselves. So I will start with Jordan. So feel free to use the chat or to come off of mute.
What was the question?
So you could just let us know about yourself. Give us a fun fact about yourself.
Oh, my name is Jordan, Jordin, and I'm turning 16 soon.
Oh, turning 16. Great. This month, next month?
In about 5 months, like
In
March.
about 5 months? Oh, in March. Okay. In the new year. Okay,
Yeah.
well, happy early birthday. Thank you. All right, next we have Layla.
Hello. Um, a little bit about me. I started driving.
Ooh, that's exciting.
I completed my 6 hours and I should be getting my permit this week. And then I can start driving my own. Well, not my own, with the trusted adult.
With the trusted adult. I love that. With the trusted adult. Well, congratulations, Layla, on having your permit, and pretty soon you will be on the road with the rest of us.
Yay.
All right. Next, I have Michael.
Hi, my name is Michael. Here's my fun fact. I love jazz. I've been playing saxophone for about like 8 years now.
That's really interesting, Michael. Really interesting. Jazz. Any favorite artists?
Ooh, Chet Baker.
Wow.
I'm a
Thank you for
trumpet, yeah.
sharing.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you play instruments as well.
Yeah, I've been playing sax for like 8 years.
Great, great. All right. Next, we have Ali.
I spell my name Ally, and the fun fact is that I used to play drums.
You used to play drums. Okay, so we have sax, we have drums, a couple of musicians here. Thank you for sharing. And was Ali the correct pronunciation?
She nodded yes.
Yes. Okay. Great. Thank you. All right. Aurora.
Yeah, Aurora. My name is Aurora. And a fun fact is that I like cooking and baking.
Cooking and baking. Favorite meal?
Oh, that's hard. Probably Alfredo. Chicken
Alfredo.
Alfredo.
Okay. Chicken
Alfredo.
Alfredo. Okay. So now we also have a chef. Okay. Great. Thank you. All right. I have Kendall next.
Hi, I'm Kendall. A fun fact about me is I'm starting ski club soon, so that should be fun.
Ski club, and this is the perfect weather to start. I've never been skiing, but it is on my to-do list. Thank you for sharing. All right. Sorry if I mispronounced it. Malena? Or Melina?
Yeah, Milan. Yeah, you spelled it right. Um, so a fun fact about me is that I'm very athletic. So yeah.
Athletic. What sports? All sports? Some
Uh, I I've done football, baseball, softball, and track.
Oh, great. All around athletic. I love it. All right. Thank you for sharing. All right. I have Catherine next.
Hi, I wasn't here initially. Are we doing introductions?
Yes. And just a fun fact, please.
Oh, all right. Well, one thing about me is that I also play the sax. I play the alto sax. I've been playing for around 5 or 6 years now.
Oh, that's great. We might have a band here. All right. And sorry if I mispronounced it. Is it Snigda?
Yeah, you got that right.
Oh, great.
So I sing and dance Indian classical music and dance. So it's different than like hip hop and stuff like that. And I've been doing that since I was literally born, you could say that, considering that I started when I was like 3 or 4. And
Wow, that's amazing.
and I used to play the violin.
Oh, another instrument in there. I think that we really have a band, a full band here. Thank you so much. All right, let's see. We have Nehemiah.
Did you say my name?
Yes. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Say it again, please.
Nehemiah.
Oh, okay. Yes, you said it right.
All right.
Um, so far my day is like doing pretty good. I didn't really have much to do at school, so I just been like looking over anything I had to do. Just trying to get my grades up, basically.
Just trying to get your grades up. Okay, thank you for sharing. And do you have a fun fact for us?
Not really, no.
No fun fact? Okay. Thank you. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Excel?
Yeah, hello. Fun fact, I played the piano. I used to play the guitar, but I stopped playing it because, yeah, it was just there. Um, I do track and I dance.
I love it. We have athletes, we have artists, we have musicians. Thank you again for sharing. All right. Next I have, is it Ichi?
Yeah. Hey, you got it right.
Yay.
I guess you could say well, a fun fact is that I'm also a drummer for like a couple years, and I like cooking a lot, so I guess that could be it.
Cooking and drumming. I love it. I love it. So, Rosie, Latoya, let me know when we have the concert because we have every instrument now. All right. Who do we have next? Megan?
Hi.
Hi, Megan.
Hello. I guess fun fact is I like to make jewelry.
I like to make jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
Custom jewelry?
It's more like crystal bracelets and necklaces.
Crystals and necklaces.
Yeah.
Great. Is that also part of your business plan?
No, just
Not
like a
yet?
fun hobby.
Just a fun hobby. Okay. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing.
Mhm.
And let's see, who do we not get? Nabiha?
Hi, my name is Nabiha, and I love to paint, and I love to like bake a lot as well. Like every single time I'm alone at home, all you see me is baking. So
Great. So we have a couple of chefs and cooks in here. I love it, love it. Just want to make sure that I did not miss anyone. We have actually a pretty big class. Okay, so that was everyone, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So, as I was mentioning earlier, today we'll be doing two classes. Our first class will be covering goal setting, budgeting, and saving. Then we'll take a quick 10-minute break. And then when we come back, we'll be going over credit building. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of information for you all. So, we're sure to have some time at the end for some questions. Also, feel free to use the chat as we go along for any additional questions or comments that you all would like to share as well. We do have a workbook. Just everyone can give a thumbs up that you're able to access your workbook from the digital classroom just to go along with the activities.
I will add
Thumbs
it to the
up.
chat as well, Miss Tamara, just in case.
Thank you. Thank you. And then I will also put up our presentation in the meantime.
I wasn't able to get into the Google Classroom at all.
Okay, Jordan. Yeah, I know you've been having some issues. I'm not really sure why. We've tried every avenue, adding your email, sending you the class code. So all I can say is I can try to delete what we've already entered and try again. Okay, so just look out for some kind of notification during the class to be added back in.
And then once the workbook is added from the chat, that should also help. If for some reason you're still not able to access it, definitely a pen and paper. We'll still go over the questions together. All right, so let's get started. So this right now for this part of the workshop and our second part, we'll be talking about your financial journey. So in particular, thinking about what journey are you on right now in terms of your finances, some ideas that you all may already have, things that you may want to buy, whether that's buying a holiday gift, maybe that's buying a gift for someone else, or even buying something for yourself. So we'll talk a lot about those goals that you all will currently have. First thing first, I do want to read this disclosure for everyone. This is for informational and educational purposes only. The views expressed during this event, they may differ from other employees and departments at JP Morgan and Chase. The views and strategies described, they may not be appropriate for everyone, and they are not intended as specific advice or recommendation for any individual. As always, you should consider your needs and objectives before making any decisions and always consult the appropriate professionals. And outlooks and past performances, they are not guarantees of future results. So, as we are on our financial journey and thinking about our goals, our first activity is talking about us starting exactly where we are. Where are we right now on October 15th in terms of our goals? So, our first activity, which is on page 1, asks us 3 questions. Have we ever set a financial goal? Have we ever created a monthly budget? And have we ever checked a credit score? What we're going to do is we're going to do this activity together. We're just going to do by the raise of hands, just to see and gauge where we currently as a group together. So the first question is, have you ever set a financial goal? If you have, please raise your hand if you've ever set a financial goal. All right, I see hands are starting to be raised. Okay, we have a few. Okay, some more hands are coming in. Okay. All right, next question. Have you ever created a monthly budget? Have you ever, so you can put your hands down if you haven't, but if you have created a monthly budget and you also create a financial goal, you can keep your hands up. Have you ever created a monthly budget? Have you ever created a monthly budget? All right. And then, oh, got some more hands coming in. All right. And if you've also checked your credit score and your hand is already up, you can keep your hand up. If you have checked your credit score, your hand is not up yet, please feel free to raise your hand if you've ever checked your credit score. Okay, so no hands on this one. No hands on this one. Okay, this is a lot of times this is expected. If you have not reached the age, oh, okay. Rosie has her hand up. All right. Yeah, in terms of credit, that one usually we don't get that many responses. It's okay. You're at the age right now. If you're still in high school, typically you have not reached that point where you have checked your credit score. But I'm sure once you're out of high school, in the near future, you definitely will be checking your credit score, and we'll talk a lot about that in our second session. Okay. So overall, when it comes to the financial journey, thinking about where you are right now pretty much is the foundation to help you think about your options. And you want to be able to make this journey smooth, right? You may have a lot of ideas about your future. Some of you all may be trying to figure that out right now. Maybe it's to have a business, maybe it's to start a car, maybe it's thinking about college, maybe just thinking about life in general. What am I going to wear tomorrow, right? But either way, having the foundation helps you make those money decisions, and also it helps you along the way to plan for the costs that you expect and also for those unexpected costs. Who can share with me, and we can use the chat, something that would be considered an unexpected cost? Unexpected costs. Yes, a car accident, right? And now we may need to get our car fixed. Hospital bills, definitely hospital bills. Yes. A lot of the classes when I'm teaching actually about even like credit, and sometimes we were talking about how that's like debt for them. We realize that when you leave the hospital, they don't hand you a bill when you leave the hospital, right? They send it to you later. So it's definitely, hospital bills are definitely unexpected. Lawsuit, yes, that's a great answer. That's definitely unexpected as well. Great answers, great answers. So when we get those unexpected costs, how do we prepare for them in advance, right? How do we prepare for the unexpected? So now thinking about saving as well, it is never too early to start saving. And I'll repeat that, it's never too early to start saving. So this activity, which is on page 2 and 3 in your journal, we're going to think about a time that you have saved for a goal, right? Maybe that goal was you wanted to buy a cell phone, maybe you wanted to buy headphones, maybe you wanted to get a gift for yourself or for someone else. How did you approach that goal, right? Did you save money every week? Did you save money every 2 weeks? And then what was the actual result from the plan that you had? So that's the first part of our activity. And then the second part of our activity, we'll share why saving is important. Okay, so we'll take about a minute for the first part. This is again page 2 and 3 in your journal. Thinking about a time that you saved for a goal. You'll let us know what the goal was, what was the plan, and then what was the end result of your saving goal. So we'll take about 1 minute for this activity. And we'll have 3 volunteers share for this one. So when you are ready, please feel free to raise your hand. All right, we have our first hand raised. Catherine.
So a goal that I had once was to save $300 in 1 month. And I achieved the goal like through a lot of means. I babysat for a couple of my parents' friends for one. I did sell a couple of designs for birthday invitations on Canva. And saving is important to me because it can benefit my future, and therefore I view like an individual's future as how they can positively impact others. And I want to positively impact a lot of people, particularly my parents.
Wow, Catherine, that was really amazing and definitely touching at the same time because you're not even just talking about yourself, but even talking about being able to support and provide for others. And I love that you used a hobby to be able to make money. And on top of that, you said you reached your goal. You were saving 300 for the month. So you had a plan and you were able to execute your plan. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, Megan, I saw Megan hand go up.
Yeah, so a goal that or something that I wanted to save money for was to be able to go visit my friends back in my old college. And I did that by getting a job, basically as soon as I got out of college. And I did reach my goal. I'm going to go, like, I bought my ticket already. I'm going to go see my friends this Friday, actually. So, yeah, and saving is important to me because it teaches me, self-control because I can learn how to, or I can depict whether something is important enough to buy or if I just want it just for fun.
Thank you so much for sharing, Megan. And a lot of times when we're teaching these classes, we're talking about the wants, the needs, and then you're asking yourself, I love that you're saying, well, is this important? Is it not important? And why is it important? Right. But overall, you just mentioned, you said, you know, why saving is important for you. So thank you so much for sharing. All right. I know I had an additional 2 more hands raised. We had Signa, and I believe one other hand was raised, right? And Melina. So Signa will go first and then Melina.
So, this is when I was little. So, basically, I had to collect enough stars that represent like $5 per star if I do a certain task. So, I'd have to collect enough stars to get what I wanted. Like I could have like gotten like 1 star, like $5, and gotten something that I wanted at that moment. But instead I would just collect like 10, 20 stars, gain like $40, and then buy something I really wanted. And whenever I really wanted to buy something else, I would be like, I would think about my end result, and that would help me get there. And saving's important to me just because it just gives me satisfaction for like the hard work that I've done. Like it's not even about the end result, it's the journey for me, because like the way like my parents raised me was like hard work gets you everything. So like by like doing whatever this collecting stars method was for them, it was just like a way for me to figure out a different way of benefiting my future than like always like going the shortcut, even though that helps sometimes.
Signa, is it okay if I steal that gym? It's not about the hard work, it's about the journey, right? It's not about the end result, I think you said, it's about the journey. I really, really love that. And sometimes being able to motivate ourselves through the experience itself, right? So thank you so much for sharing. All right. And then Milena is going to close us out.
Okay, so one time I remember I needed $30 for like a video game, and I remember I had a $5 allowance, but like it would take me a while. So like I help people like understand their homework and classwork. Like I would help them with it, and I would charge $5. It's not even that much. And I got like at least 3 clients every week. And like after a week and like a half, um I had like more than enough to like buy the video game. So I also had some left over. So yeah. Oh, and I think saving is important to me because I can control and I can detect my needs and wants. And you never know what will happen. So you always gotta be prepared for the future. So
Thank you, Milena, and I love it. It sounds like you already have your entrepreneurship plan set out. You are charging to tutor and also help with homework. I love it. I love it. And sometimes we'll talk about the budgeting and the saving, but even with those additional hobbies, turning those hobbies and monetizing off of it, right? So a lot of you already told me about all the great talents that you have. How can that talent become an additional income for you? Thank you so much, all of you, for sharing really great stories, really great examples, and also of all of you sharing why saving is important to you. You'll see at the bottom it says being good at saving is less about how much you save each time. It's more about the habit itself. So creating that consistency, creating that discipline, that self-control when it comes to our finances overall. And then also understanding that no amount is too small to get started. No amount is too small. So now we're talk a little bit about goal setting, whether we're creating goals for now, also creating goals for in our future. The setting goals is what gives us direction and keeps us focused on building that financial future that we want, right? So thinking about what a goal actually is, how do we break down our goals? Some goals may be things that we want to be able to accomplish right now, which would be in a goal that's immediate, less than 6 months. That could mean earning money with a side hustle, as you all were just sharing with me in your great examples, right? Maybe it's your hobby that you're turning into income. It could be opening up a savings account so that you have somewhere to store the money. Or maybe just by starting to save $5 a week, right? That could be an example of immediate goals. Then we have goals that's what's considered short-term goals. That's less than 2 years, saving for those unexpected costs. Remember, I said that word would come up again. Maybe you're saving up for a laptop. Maybe saving up for a car. Maybe you're planning for your future career, right? The career that you would like to have, or the job and role that you would like to have. Then we have medium term goal. We have 2 to 5 years. It could be earning your degree. It could be going to like a trade school. It could be getting a certification. It could be becoming an entrepreneur, which you all are all in the right place because this program is going to teach you everything that you need to know about becoming an entrepreneur. In the future, maybe saving up for a home, right? If not for a home, saving up for that down payment on that first apartment. And then long-term goals, which 5 years or more, could be thinking about starting a family, becoming a homeowner. And then in the far, far future, planning for retirement. So now that we know how our goals are breaking up, our next activity, we're actually going to create a goal, but we're to create a goal with a twist. We're going to create a goal and also put a time frame of when we would like to accomplish that goal, right? So, for example, it may be that your goal is to purchase a car. So if your goal is to purchase a car, how much will this car cost us? We think about for our next activity, but for now, I'm thinking about when would we like to purchase this car, right? So do this want to be something before 2024 is over, or is it something for 2025? Maybe it's working on graduating high school. Maybe that's a goal for you. Okay. So will you be graduating in June 2025? That could be your goal. Okay. And we have the option here on your workbook. It is digital. You can type in on the workbook. If you're using a pen and paper, you can feel free to write it down too. If you want to write 4 goals, that's fine. You just want to choose one. But remember, put a goal and also put a date, a goal and a date. Right. So we'll take about 1 minute for this next activity and then we will share. Okay, and for this activity, we'll take 2 volunteers. Feel free to raise your hand when you have your responses. Okay, Excel, take it away.
I only did 3 for right now, but my first goal was to buy a car by 2027, and my second goal was to buy a house by like 2034, and then my third goal is to become a neurosurgeon by 2039 because that takes a long time.
Wow, I love the goals. So personal goals and professional goals. I love it. Love it. Thank you for sharing. All right, we have Catherine.
So for the first goal I had, it was to become productive money-wise, and I'm hoping to do that in a month or 2 from now. And for the second goal I had was initiating my career, maybe potentially starting a small business, opening an Etsy shop is a very big goal of mine. And I hope that I can get it running and up in a year or 2, maybe in June 2025. And for my third goal, I put that I wanted to begin studying somewhere in the financial field, maybe becoming like an entrepreneur. And I hope to get my diploma around 2027 or work towards it and get started on that early.
Catherine, I love the goals as well. And I'll just do a little twist on yours, right? So, not that you hope to get it, but you will get it, right? And this is why we're creating these plans. So that way you're confident in your plan. You're going month by month. You're going then the 3 months, and then before it, the years have went by and you were able to accomplish your goals. Thank you for sharing. Do we have any other hands raised for this activity? Okay, we got everyone. So you all just created your goal and you also put a date. So I love that because they say a goal without a date is just a wish, right? So we don't just want to manifest our goals, we actually want to be able to accomplish our goals. So what are we missing? Who can tell me what are we missing from our goals? What are we missing? Aurora.
Like steps and like how we're going to be able to reach the goals.
plan. So how do we actually create a plan? There's a SMART format. Quick raise of hand. Have you ever heard of the SMART format? Quick raise of hand, the acronym SMART. Yes, I see a couple of hands raised. Yes, I know like a lot of courses in school now, they're teaching the SMART format, and I feel like it works for anything and everything, right? So it's an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So S is our first part. Where making sure that our goal is specific, asking ourselves, what is it for? When will this goal happen? Where will this goal happen? In this example here, having an emergency fund in a savings account is the goal, right? Um, M is measurable. So this is your target. So if your goal is financial, a lot of times think about, well, how much will this cost me? It helps you measure your goal to know how you will reach your goal and how far you are to reaching your goal. So in this example, we are looking for emergency fund saving of $200 in our savings account. A, achievable. This is the part of the motivation to keep us going, to help us accomplish our goal, and also to ensure that our goal is realistic. Because any one of us can say that I want to be rich tomorrow, I want to hit the lottery tomorrow, but is that realistic? Is that something that is achievable? How do we stay motivated to become rich? And realistically, you can't just become rich overnight, right? And Biha, you have a question? Nabi, if you're on mute, we're unable to hear you.
I think her hand may have been up from the previous
From the
question.
previous? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then next we have R for relevant, creating a reason behind your goal. This is an additional motivation to keep us driven and just thinking about, well, what is it? What is the purpose of our goal, right? So if we're looking to have an emergency funds of a savings account, we want to be able to prepare for the unexpected. And then last, to close it out, we have the T for time bound, thinking about when do we want to reach our target. So if we put our full SMART plan together,
Yeah,
I
I'm
want to
sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you please repeat that one more time?
the last one is T for time bound. So it's creating a end date and for us to reach our goal. And so if we put our SMART plan all together, I want to have an emergency fund of $200 in a savings account to prepare for the unexpected. I will have $10 a week for 20 weeks to reach my target by the end of the year. And there you go with a SMART plan, right? So I'll give you all about 2 minutes. You'll write down your SMART plan. So you already have your S, you already have your T. Now it's thinking about your target. Some of it may take a research. For example, if you want to buy a car, okay, well, how much will this car cost? Right? Am I just doing like a down payment? If you're looking for anything that's monetary wise, knowing again how much will you have to budget for that, and then the achievable now breaking down, okay, depending on when you want to achieve it by, how much money do I need to save, whether that's weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly until you reach your goal. And some goals may not be financial. So it could be something of for a degree for school, okay, well, how do I start? Do I need to go get a bachelor's degree first and then get a master's degree and then get like a PhD? How much time do I need in between? Everyone's goal and time frame will be different. All right, so we'll do that activity and then we'll take our first break. Any questions? Any questions?
I actually have a question. So
Yes.
on the workbook on page 6, when we're putting goal 1 and goal 2, it says target amount. What does that mean?
So, for example, if you were looking to make a purchase or buy something, right? How much will it cost you for your goal? So, in your example, what was your example for your goal?
So my example was getting my diploma.
Getting your diploma? Okay. So, how far are you from getting your diploma?
I would say around 4 years of education, or
4 years. So,
plus high school, right?
plus high school. So you would put for your target could be whether how many classes do you need to take, let's just say per term, per semester. So because your goal is not financial. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. And before we take our break, any other questions before we take our break? All right, so we're going to take a 10-minute break. Please be back by 7:20 and we will pick up where we left off. Enjoy your break. All right, welcome back, welcome back, back. It is 7:20. Hope you all had a good break. We are going to resume back where we left off a little bit, left with the first part of the workshop, and then we'll go into our credit workshop. All right, so we just completed our goals. Now to talk a little bit about budgeting, creating a budget, what a budget actually is to help us reach those goals. So first, understanding that spending less than you earn is the one way to help make sure that we are making enough to meet our needs and hopefully some of our wants, right? But needs will always be our priorities, and then wants will always come last. But we'll now thinking about what is an actual budget. So the first part of a budget is knowing what is our income, right? What sources of income do we have? A lot of you shared great hobbies that you currently have right now. Some of those hobbies can make you income, right? If you're currently working, that would be considered income. If you get an allowance, if you do chores, so you share examples about like babysitting, anything like that. That would be an example of money that you're able to make. So thinking about what's your income first, and then how do you keep track of that money? Are you keeping it in a bank account? Do you have a piggy bank? Do you have online tracking app for it? That's helping you keep track. Are you using any digital tools to look at how you're also tracking the money that's incoming as well? All right. The next part of a budget is what's called expenses. And this is the part of the money that's actually going out. What are you spending your money on? If you have any bills, if not any bills, maybe everyday expenses, maybe it could be just buying food, going food shopping, getting snacks, maybe just buying regular everyday expenses for yourself. And then we have that unexpected expenses again that comes up. How are you preparing for those unexpected expenses, even when creating a budget? What you're looking at here, page 13 to 15 in your books, it actually gives you the formula of how to create the budget. First, you put your income in, then you put those must pay expenses. So these are the bills and everything like that, the necessities. And then you have the optional expenses that you can include. You subtract the expenses from the income. Whatever's left over would be considered your savings. Now, there are a lot of times where when creating a budget, we realize that that number is now in the red or it's at zero, right? So that means that we've spent more than we had incoming. So, what do we do when we reach that point? We now have to think about how to make a small change to create that big difference in our budget. So, looking at this example here, it teaches us how to save either $1 less per day, $5 less per day, or $10 less per day, and what are the end results. So we'll go for the sake of this activity. We'll just go to $5 because now, this can anyone tell me what are we dealing with our economy right now? What is going on in our economy right now? Let's see. Let's see. Feel free to either, yes, Megan, inflation, right? So inflation means that the prices are typically higher than normal. I recently got gas yesterday after getting gas from last week, and I noticed there's a difference. So gas prices may be up. If you go grocery shopping, you notice that food costs more than it did definitely a year ago. So all these things will make a difference in terms of that budget, and also sometimes it makes it harder to save, right? So if we're thinking about how do we save and spend less than $5 less every day, what is something that we spend our money on every day? What do we spend our money on every single day? I see groceries. Any coffee drinkers in here? Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts? Transportation, yes, right? the Uber, the Lyfts, gas, Wawa. I love Wawa. I think Wawa has like the best sandwiches. Yes. So all these things eventually they start to add up. So if, for example, right, if we like coffee or we like tea in the morning, but we still need to have our coffee and our tea, and we don't want to go to Starbucks, we don't want to go to Dunkin' Donuts. What can we do different? Yeah, Maya, I agree. Food is definitely one of the expenses. We didn't even talk about the Uber Eats, the DoorDash. Yes. Signa?
Um, for the coffee, maybe you can get like what's it called? Like maybe filter coffee for a little bit, or like something that you can do at home with a lower price than what you would have to do.
Something we can do at home, right? Making the coffee at home. And a lot of times they say it tastes better when we make it anyway, right? Because you don't have to think about oh, can you add the extra sugar, please? Can you add creamer, please? Right? Telling them specifically how you want it. At home, you make it specifically how you like it, right? And thank you, Rosie. Rosie said buying the Wawa pods and the creamer to make it at home. Doing some of these things at home, right? If you'll see $5 less every day in 1 year is 1,825. And then to put in perspective, thinking about some of the goals that you currently have, how does that help me with reach my goal, right? Whether that goal is to start up a business, whether that goal is to again start creating that down payment for my car, right? Thinking about your everyday expenses. And for everyone, this won't look exactly the same. For a lot of people, this will look different. But you'll think about your own budget, look through it. What am I spending my money on every single day? What is it that I can still maintain, but cut back in terms of the expenses, right? $10 less a day in 5 years is $18,260. Would we say that's a lot of money? I see a couple of head nods, right? I agree. I agree. So creating that habit. Remember earlier we were talking about consistency. That will help us to be able to make that small change for that big difference in the future. All right. So now we have completed our first portion of budgeting, saving, and goals. Now we're going to get into the more interesting topic, which is credit. Okay. We're going to change our presentation so that we can get into the credit presentation here. And remember at the end, if there are any additional questions when it comes to the budgeting and saving your goals, please feel free to write them down, or you can start to put them in a group chat so that way we can ensure to answer them at the end. All right. So now we're going to talk about building and managing credit. If I was to ask you all why credit is important, what would you all say? Why is credit important? We could do raise of hands or feel free to use the chat. Why is credit important? Okay, Signa?
It builds your credibility for like people to look at your spending habits and be like, okay, I can trust this person to do this certain thing.
Yes, great answer. It's associated with accountability, responsibility, and trust, right? We want lenders to trust us so that they can let us borrow money. It's a little bit different from our personal budget and our personal saving because our personal budget and saving, we have more control over that, right? Now, when it comes to someone else's money that we borrow, we have to have even more discipline, even more control because they expect their money back, right? If they let us borrow money, they definitely expect the money back. So the first part of credit is understanding that it can be used in different many ways. It gives us access to more money, it gives us access to buy things that we don't necessarily have the cash for right away. For example, like a car, for a house. Having credit is having money, but having money easily accessible that does have to be paid back. Right. And then also we have a chat example that said good credit gives you opportunities with banks and lenders. Yes, Catherine. Yes, definitely. So the basis of credit is overall there's benefits, as you all just shared, of what credit gives us access to. But what are the costs of having credit now? Is it free to have credit? I see Signa shaking no. Why is it not free? Why is it not free to have credit? Layla?
With credit, you may like be able to get the money and everything like that, but everything you get, you have to pay it back. And sometimes you have to pay it back with interest.
Yes. Oh, that's a great word. Interest, right? What does it mean if we have interest on credit? What does that mean?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Layla.
Interest is like an extra fee that it's like a fee for like I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like an extra fee for them giving you the money, and then it's something that you can accumulate over time. Like the longer it takes you, I think, to pay the money back.
Great definition. So pretty much we may have spent $300 on our credit card, but if we have interest on that credit card, the bill may be more than 300, right? It'll be whatever that interest rate is that they're charging us on top of those purchases. And also see some things in the chat. Nehemiah was asking, did we say why credit is important? Yes, we were just discussing why credit is important. Megan said, because you have to keep it at a good score. Yes, Megan. So that was going to be my next trivia question. In terms of credit and credit score, do we know what is the lowest possible score that we can have? The lowest possible score. Anyone wants to take a guess?
A 3.
300. Really good. All right. Now, who would like to tell us the highest? I see the zeros coming in. Typically, when I do these classes, everyone usually says 0. Great news. No one starts at 0. 300 is the lowest. Now, what's the highest? What is the highest? Yes, Nehemiah.
Is it 850?
850. Great. Thank you so much. So we have 300 is the lowest, 850 is the highest. And we were just talking about the cost of credit. So interest is one cost of credit. If we do not pay our credit bills on time, another cost could be fees, right? It could be fees. If we're thinking about our score, there is a cost to our score if we also are not paying those bills on time. Now, thinking about overall ways to build credit. And for a lot of you, like some of this information may be brand new. Some things you may have heard, you may have seen a YouTube video, a TikTok video about this. Overall, credit is the ability to be able to buy now and pay over time. To build credit, the very most and always the most important thing, you always have to make on-time payments. A lot of the other bills you'll have in the future, they'll be a little lenient. Your cell phone bill will be lenient, maybe your cable bill will be a little lenient, but those credit bills are not lenient. Again, there will be costs, there will be fees if you pay late. There's a cost to your credit score. Your credit score could go down, there could be late fees, your interest rate can go up. So thinking about that journey and even your credit journey, thinking about what are your options for a lot of you, if you have not reached that point yet where you've been offered like credit cards, for a lot of people it will be like those student credit cards that you'll get offered. A lot of college campuses, they usually have some type of lender there, they're offering credit cards, but you want to know what are your options. You also want to be able to understand it. When I was in college, I had no idea what to do with the credit card, but they were throwing it out there. And so I made all the possible credit mistakes, but I don't want that for you all, right? Some of you, your first credit card again might be a department store or it might be like a student card, but knowing how to actually use and manage that card will be very important. For some of you, it may be like that student loan. Student loans will be part of your credit history until those student loans are paid off. A credit card could be whether you yourself you applied for a credit card to build up your credit, or something that I really love and I always encourage a lot of parents to do is to add the teenagers as authorized users on your credit card. So your parents may not like that I said this, but letting your family know that if they add you as an authorized user on a credit card that they are managing, that they're maintaining really well, it will help you build up credit. By the time you are turning 18, you are ready to rent an apartment or you're ready to buy a car, you won't need to do what's called a cosigner because you will have a couple of years built up credit. Again, this will be a credit card that they have not missed payments, they've had for a long time. And I see a couple of you writing down. The term is called authorized user. And that is a way to help you start to build your credit. You can have a couple of years built up of credit. And it definitely helps because if you decide that, you know what, I don't want an apartment on campus, I want an apartment off campus, landlords definitely check credit. Back to when we were talking about earlier, that responsibility, the accountability, landlords look at it, well, you know what? If you're paying your credit bills on time, more than likely you pay the rent on time. Believe it or not, a lot of jobs now actually check credit as well. So credit is not just important for giving us access, but also for opportunities. When I first started working in banking, that was something that was required, right? They didn't tell me where I needed to be in terms of credit, but they did do a credit background check. And I remember even to get promotions to get to the next level, they would continue to do credit background checks as well. So something else that you all want to keep in mind of when you start to have credit, why you want to maintain it, why you want to keep it in good standing, because it can impact you for other things and other opportunities. Right? If you're looking to purchase that first car as well, they definitely will run a credit check. They'll definitely check your credit score. And also it makes a difference again on your options when it comes to loans and your options when it comes to interest rates. So a couple of words here that we have on the screen. And we also have some other credit activities for you all after the workshop that you all can definitely refresh back up on the information. I think we have about like 3 worksheets on credit that should be accessible in the Google Classroom. So the very first terminology we have up here, we're going to do word matching. I'm going to read the definition and you all are going to share where do you think it matches. And then at the end, we'll have a full match on the screen for you all. So the very first one is, this is your track record of credit payments over time. Is it credit, credit bureau, credit report, or credit score? Please feel free to use the chat. Is it credit, credit bureau, credit report, or credit score? Your track record of credit payments over time. And please feel free to take notes of your responses. All right, so I see credit report, I see credit score, credit report. Okay, so we have a couple answers for credit report. Okay, remember to jot down your notes and your responses, and then we'll check back in after. All right, next one. Most of your credit and payments are reported to them. Credit, credit bureau, credit report, or credit score. Most of your credit payments are reported to them. All right, I have a couple people saying the credit bureau, credit bureau. Okay. All right. Next one. This indicates how likely you are to repay a loan or make payments on time. This indicates how likely you are to repay a loan or make payments on time. Credit, credit bureau, credit report, or credit score. All right, so I see a mix of responses, credit score, credit report. We have a couple votes for credit score. Okay, really good. All right, and then last one, the ability to buy now and pay later. The ability to buy now and pay later. All right, the responses are coming in fast with this one. All right, we have credit. Okay, so let's see what our answers are. So your track record of credit payments over time, that is credit report. So please give yourself a round of applause or a virtual clap for credit report if you got that correct. The next one, most of your credit payments are reported to them. That is the credit bureaus. We have 3 credit bureaus. Do we know who our 3 credit bureaus are? We have 3 credit bureaus. Do we know who our 3 credit bureaus are? 3 credit bureaus. 2 of them starts with the E, 1 starts with the T. That's a hint. 3 credit bureaus. Let's see. All right, so the first one would be Equifax. That's 1. We also have TransUnion and we have Experian. Okay, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Those are our 3 credit bureaus. All right, next one. This indicates how likely you are to repay a loan or make payments on time. That is credit score. I believe a lot of you had that correct. A lot of you had that one correct. And then the last one, I feel like everyone had correct. The ability to buy now and pay later. That is credit. So again, virtual clap for yourselves, for each other, for doing really great on the terminology on credit. So when you think about building your credit, it's always important to know the basics of credit. That will help you decide overall, how does this align with your goals? How does it align with your budget? How do you know if you can pay this credit bill back or not? Right? It will definitely help you in terms of making those decisions. We just talked about the scores. We talked about the credit bureaus. You have the 3 major credit bureaus here on the screen. Again, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Those are the 3. They're the ones that's gathering all of our information from the lenders, who we borrow from, how much we borrow from them. And they're the ones that's going to release your credit report, your credit score, when you go to apply for new credit. Remember, it is a 3-digit number, starts at 300. No one starts at 0 when it comes to credit. Right? What's the most important thing we mentioned earlier? We said paying on time. So when it comes to checking your credit, you'll notice all that there's 2 different systems. And so your scores will not be the same when you check out all 3 credit bureaus. You have what's called FICO score. That's the most popular one. Everyone have heard of FICO. Then you have the other one, which is called Vantage score, that we'll be going over here. Percentages do change between FICO to Vantage. This is pretty much the formula of how your credit score is created. So the first part, whether you're looking at FICO or Vantage, the most important again will be payment history. Vantage 3.0 says that 40% of our credit score comes from payment history. So that means making sure that we're paying those bills on time, ensuring that either we do what's called auto pay, where automatically they will take that money from our account, or we schedule the payment to go out either before or on the day that it's due. And payment history also includes ensuring that you pay your minimum payment. Every credit bill that you receive will say on the statement, this minimum payment, for example, is $50. If you pay less, what happens is late fees, credit score can go down because the agreement was to at least pay your minimum payment. So when you get those credit statements, always pay attention to what your minimum payment is. Something else with payment history that's important, credit cards have cutoff time. So paying attention to what time is this credit card bill due? At some point, you may have 3, 4 credit cards and it's hard to manage and maintain and remember everything. So is this credit card due at 5 p.m.? If you're waiting till the day of to pay it, ensuring that you get that payment in before the cutoff, because if you're doing it online, doing it over the phone, the system will read it as a late payment. For some reason, life happens. If you do make that first late payment right away, you want to contact the lender before they report it to the credit bureau. Okay. And then make your arrangement to make that payment. So again, 40% of our score for Vantage is payment history, paying on time. Next, we have what's called our credit history. This is how long we've had history and also the different types of credit that we have on there. You always want to keep the accounts that you've had for a long time. You want to keep those in good standing and keep them open. So for example, eventually you'll have a credit card, let's just say for like 5 years. That credit card may have a high interest rate over time, but you still want to keep it open and active. What I usually suggest, if you get a credit card and you feel like you're not getting any benefits, right? You're not getting cash back, you're not getting rewards. This credit card is actually costing you a little bit more money just to keep it and maintain it. Use it maybe for one recurring charge, right? For the most part, maybe like your cell phone bill will be the same every month. Maybe it's like your Netflix bill. But keeping something that's within your budget, just keep that card open and active, and then use the other cards that are giving you benefits, right? Anyone that likes to travel, maybe a lot of cards have benefits for like mileage, right? Or then overall, maybe they're giving you money back on cash, back on groceries, cash back on gas. Those were the cards that you use a little bit more often. But when you close out credit cards, what happens is, especially the ones you had for a long time, it wipes away that history that you've been working so hard to build up, right? And also here, and it talks about the credit history, types of credit. Lenders like to see that you have different types of credit. You have Macy's lets you get a credit card, Target lets you get a credit card. Now you have a student loan, then you have a car loan, right? You're showing that responsibility with different types of lenders and also with different types of credit. That's what lenders like to see. And you'll see this is the second most important thing overall on your credit history and your credit report. Next, we have credit usage. Now, this is important because you want to be able to maintain good credit. You want to maintain those balances. Lenders like to see that you are maintaining 30% or less on your limit. And I'll give you all example. If we get a credit card and those credit card limits, for example, is $1,000 is your limit, the lender would like to see that you're not carrying more than a balance of $300 or more over time, right? So not saying that you can't spend 500, 600. Please don't say Miss Tamara said I can't spend on my credit card. Yes, you can spend on your credit card, but the lender wants to see that you are paying that money back and making an effort. What I usually teach people when you're trying to build your credit, or sometimes you're trying to fix your credit, thinking about looking at that credit report, every single credit bill. Okay, how much is my balance and my limit on this card? Okay, how do I get this credit card down to 30%? Looking at each of your credit cards, getting them down to 30% or less. Again, in this example, use $1,000, but you would go by the limit that you are offered by the bank. Credit usage, again, is 20% of your overall score, but the magical number is to maintain 30% or less of what you're borrowing from, because you want the lender again to see that you are properly maintaining your credit and those credit balances. Next, we have total balances, 11%. This is for anything that is current and unfortunately the past due bills. So there's something called collections. If you make a promise to pay a lender, you don't pay them back, eventually the lender will send you to collections. We were talking about hospital bills earlier. Hospital bills for a lot of people go into collections because it was unexpected, right? The debt is so high that it's very hard to pay back. Student loans. A lot of times too, they're expecting the money within a certain period of time after graduation. But maybe we didn't even get the career, we didn't get the job yet that we were expecting within, let's just say that 6 months, to pay back those student loans and pay them back on time. So sometimes what happens is when those bills are unpaid, they go into default, then it goes into collection. Now another company owns that amount, they own that loan or that balance, and we now have to work with that collection agency to pay it off. But what happens is it does impact us on our overall credit score and our credit report, because it's going to show that those bills are past due, they're unpaid as well, and also will show every late payment. Lenders don't like to see that we have late payments or that we have things in collections, right? So these are all things that, again, before engaging into certain loans, before engaging into certain credit, knowing what you need it for, and also knowing how will I pay this back? What is my plan to start to pay this back? And if you're experiencing financial hardship, reaching out to the lender to ensure you're making payment arrangements with the lender, so that way they're not reporting to the credit bureau that you have either missed a payment or that you were late with a payment. Okay. Then we have recent credit behavior, 5%. This is what's called credit inquiry or hard credit check. If you hear any of those words, automatically that means that you're losing points on your credit just for the application, right? Every time that you apply for new credit, it will be called a credit inquiry or a hard credit check. For example, if you go buy a car, they will run a credit report. That will be a hard credit check, right? If you go to any department store, you try to go maybe buy furniture for that new apartment that you just got, that will be a hard credit check on your credit report and the inquiry. Anyone wants to take a guess? How long does it last on our credit report, the application? Anyone wants to take a guess? All right, in the chat. 6 months, a little bit more than 6 months. A little bit more than 6 months. More than a year. So 2 years. Great guesses. 2 years. And that's whether or not we got approved. So the thing with credit is legally, no lender can tell you that, oh no, your scores are 300. Don't apply for this. Wait a little bit, right? Legally, they cannot tell you that. But now for you yourself, knowing, okay, this is where your credit stands. This is what my approval chances and odds are. Know what your credit looks like before you go to apply for credit. But whether or not you get approved, the inquiry itself will be in your credit report for 2 years. And sometimes with lenders, they look at that. They look at it as a deterring factor in whether or not they want to let you borrow money. So if you just applied for a credit card 3 weeks ago and then now you're applying for another company 3 weeks ago, that company may think, you know what, I don't know, this might be a little bit risky because now you're just applying to too many credit cards all at once. Eventually, a lot of you will start to get pre-approval letters in the mail. You always want to look at those pre-approval letters, even if you get 5 offers, look through all of them. Which one is offering you the most? Apply to only one out of those 5. Please think about it before you apply. What is it that you need the credit for? Will you be able to afford this credit bill, even as you're making those expenses and those charges on the card? Yes. And Ali has a question about credit card. Do they do background checks? So the credit card company, the credit check that they do when you apply for credit, that would be the credit background check. Yes. Does that answer your question? So pretty much they will run what's called like a credit report or that credit inquiry. And that's how they're able to gather that credit history on whether you have credit or if you do have credit, how you've been managing that credit as well. So I always tell people give yourself some time in between because it does take 2 years for each of those applications to drop off of your credit. Great question. And the last part of this is available credit, the amount that you have available. This is for what you have not used on your credit card. What you do want to get to the point where the lender is saying, wow, you've been doing such a great job with your credit. Now they're offering you to increase your limit on your credit limit for your credit amount. So maybe you were at 1,000. Now they said, you know what, here's an extra $500 because you've been so responsible and accountable for your credit. Now, I see we have some multiple questions. Michael said, do they check all credit scores if you have multiple cards? So when they do a credit report, they typically, most lenders will pull from all 3 credit bureaus because some information may not necessarily be on one credit bureau, but maybe at the other one. Sometimes the lenders don't all report at the same time as well. So yes, they typically check all 3 credit bureaus for the different scores as well. And yes, Ali, they check your score, that including the credit history as well. Do you pick which credit bureau you are part of? No, so automatically, once you start to apply for different lenders, the lenders will not report back to those credit bureaus. So it's not really our choice which credit bureau we belong to or part of. The lenders are the ones that report back to the credit bureaus. So that's a little bit out of our control. We only control how much we spend. Great questions. Great questions.
So
Remember, Earl, you have another question?
yeah, so the lenders basically are the ones who choose the credit bureau, and they only like choose one, or like do you have to send it to all 3?
So typically they do report to all 3. I have seen sometimes with collections don't go to all 3. But I have seen in terms of your accounts and balances go to all 3. And to be honest, you want it to be at all 3 because imagine that one score is really, really, really lower because it's not showing like a positive credit history. So you want your lenders to report to all 3 credit bureaus, but yes, it can have a negative impact as well if you do, again, miss payments or late or any of those credit bureaus because that's what the lender is using to report back for the credit history.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Great, great, great questions. Great questions. So earlier we were talking about the interest rate. Again, that's additional money that the lender charges you for the money that you borrow. You'll also will hear often the word APR, which is annual percentage rate, that's the yearly cost of borrowing money, which again can include fees. So it's always important when you're getting the student loan, getting any credit cards, getting any type of credit, that you understand that just because you spend $300, $400 does not mean when you get that bill that it would only be that specific amount. It will be that plus interest. Right? Here is the score range again. So knowing again where we're starting, where we're at, 300, 659, I'll say it's a work in progress for credit. 660 to 719 is fair credit. 720 to 779 is good credit. 780 to 850 is excellent credit. Looking at this range, where do we want to be? And this is also accessible in your journals, page 16 18. Where do we want to be? Use the chat. Looking at this range, where would we like to be with our credit? I see 720 to 850. Yes, between that good to excellent category. 780 or more. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Really, really good. The overall cost of having better credit makes a difference because the better your credit score, the lower your interest rate. The lower your credit score, the higher your interest rate. So sometimes you're paying a little bit more over time on credit cards is because of the score, right? Lenders look at us where our score is lower. They look at us as a risk. They look at us not responsible. So how do they ensure that they are getting paid and getting their money up front? They charge high interest. So we might have a loan in this example for $1,000, but our score is around like a 580. Interest rate could be at 28.5%. But someone at a 719 could be paying 13.5% because they're in the fair category of credit. So it will make a difference how much money you're spending, how much money you're spending over time as well. Sometimes it's hard to see it in that month-to-month payment, but it's by the time that you paid it off, it's too late, and then you're out. Wow, I paid an extra $1,000. I paid an extra $2,000 just because my credit score was lower. So it's always important to try to maintain that good credit. Overall, thinking about why is it important to have your credit report, pretty much all the reasons that we shared earlier. Lenders use it as an example of what you see here, like the report card, or a lot of times I say it's like when you apply for a job is looking at your resume, they're looking at your past skills and experiences. Same thing, where with the credit report, it's pretty much showing how well you are managing or not managing your credit cards, your balances, those loans. Are you paying on time? Are you responsible? That's the question that everyone that's looking at your credit report to see, let me see if this person is responsible. So ensuring that you want that credit report or like that report card, you want it to look good, right? You want everything on there to be positive, but it goes by those activities. These are all the people here on this list that can check your credit. So remember earlier, we said the jobs, we said the landlords, the banks, the lenders, insurance company. So for all of us that's going to be on the road soon, that car has to have insurance. The insurance company will still give us the insurance, but a lot of times they might say that, you know what, they'll charge you an initiation fee. Same thing with utility bills, they'll charge you an initiation fee because they checked the credit. It wasn't really at the standard. So they'll charge you maybe an extra $300 to $400 up front just to have the service. So having a lower score also costs us more money, right? And these are for some services that has nothing to do necessarily with credit, right? Insurance, utility bills doesn't have anything to do with credit, but is a necessity, again, associated with responsibility. Right? And some of the information that will be on that credit report, obviously any personal information will be on there. A lot of time your employers will be on there. Also credit inquiries. Remember, every time you apply for credit, that will also be on that credit report. When should you request a credit report? I would say that the moment that you're looking into having credit or you start to have any credit, for example, you get that first student loan, you get that first credit card, you want to check your credit, you can check it pretty much at your leisure in terms of how often. Some people say they check it every 3 months. Some people say they check it every month. You have some of the free apps, they allow you to check every single day, but creating some type of consistency, especially when you first start with credit. There's a great website, which is annualcreditreport.com, annualcreditreport.com. That allows you to check all 3 credit bureaus for free once per year. And again, that's annualcreditreport.com to check all 3 credit reports for free once per year. So a lot of you may be thinking, I don't have credit yet. I'm not sure if I have credit. I'm not sure if it's important or not. Um, when again you start to apply for things, when you start to want to get that car, you want to get that apartment, this is when you'll see that why credit is important. But we want you to see that now. We don't want to wait until you're looking to get these things and then thinking like, oh no, I need to figure out, I need to go get my first credit card. I need to build up credit. We want you to start thinking about these ideas now and also the proper way when you do get the credit to how to manage it as well, right? A lot of times when you have a credit card, you'll be making a decision. Should I use my cash? Should I use my debit card? Should I use my credit card? Should I use my cash? Should I use my debit card? Should I use my credit card? And a lot of times the decision will be your credit card you want to use for the large expenses. You want to use your credit card also for emergencies. The cash and the debit card you want to use for overall what's part of your budget. So remember earlier we were talking about those expenses, those needs and the wants, that should be part of your budget. Credit card should go into emergency. All right. And then we're pretty much towards the end of the workshop. Today, we talked about goal setting, we talked about budgeting, we talked about saving, and then we also talked about credit, building and managing credit. You all also have asked some great questions so far. Any additional questions for me? Any additional questions?
So, Ms. Tamara, I know you mentioned how with your utilities, like those are things that are not necessarily that don't necessarily impact your credit score, but when could they impact your credit score? What would be an instance where they would actually appear on your credit score or on your credit report?
In terms of the credit accounts?
Yes. So let's say
So
like your PSE&G, like your, you know, your utility bills, your cell phone bills. So bills that are not necessarily tracked the same way as credit, and when would that appear on your credit report?
So when you don't want it to appear, but it would appear as if you don't pay those bills. For example, if you have, I know usually when I help people check their credit, T-Mobile is one of those companies and Verizon that if you bought a cell phone from them and you made an agreement to pay within 2 years, you didn't pay it in 2 years, they will report that eventually after trying many attempts to get the money from you, they will report it to the credit bureaus. And so what happens is when they report it to the credit bureau, it will be now under collection. Now another company owes it. You have to now pay that other company back. And that's a great question, Rosie, because you have even insurance companies, you have utility companies, the same thing. After a certain time that of them trying to collect the money from you, they can't get it. They will send that to collections for now another company pretty much purchased it. Now that company will be calling you, emailing you, any way to contact you to be able to get their money back. And the reason I say you don't want to get to that point because when the collection agencies are trying to get their money back, there's something called wage garnishment, right? You worked really hard for your paycheck, and then now they really want their money back because they paid that debt back for you. They can go garnish your wages. There's also something called treasury. Eventually, when you all start working, you'll start filing taxes. They can also garnish your taxes. So these are all things that when we talk about when we take make the agreement with the company, a lender, anyone like that to pay them, you want to be sure it's part of your budget. You want to be sure that you can afford it because it can impact us later. Thank you for sharing, Rosie. That was definitely a really, really great question.
Yeah, so the moral of the story is pay everything on time.
Yes,
That's
yes.
my,
Pay
that's
everything
my
on
takeaway from
time.
today.
Definitely,
Yes.
definitely. Pay everything on time. And also in the meantime, for everyone, Latoya is sharing like the survey as well. And then she said tomorrow's class, you'll be talking about taxes. Great.
Yes, yes. Tomorrow is a new class, scholars. I announced this at the beginning. So if you were not present, yes, we do have class tomorrow, which is different. We don't typically have class on Wednesdays. So please come back here, same place, same time, for fundamentals of budgeting, and we will be talking about taxes included in your budgeting. So please come back, and you will receive a reminder email about class tomorrow as well. So yes, please go ahead and fill out the class survey. And remember, we are here until 8:30. Until if you have any questions, this is your optional time to pick our brains. Please also know that the end of course assessment is next Tuesday. So if you also have any questions about the class project, what you need to submit, and if you also have any questions about the pitch, which you'll receive more details about it on Thursday's class as well. But if you had any questions about that document for the end of course that was sent to you earlier in the classroom reminder, please feel free to ask that as well. So we just thank Professor Tamara for that wonderful class. You all did a great job. You're all very engaged, and she's a great professor, so I am not surprised. We thank you again, Ms. Tamara, for your time, and she's done this quite a many times. What number is this for you now, Ms. Tamara? 6?
Maybe
Maybe
more than that, because I think we do at
7?
least probably 6 or 7. Definitely probably 6 or
Okay,
7.
yeah.
I think this
So
is
we
like our
just
third
thank
year.
her. Awesome. Yeah, we thank her for her time. Okay, so I see some questions coming in. Michael, should we prepare a short speech or presentation for the pitch? Yes. So the specific requirements for the pitch will be outlined on Thursday with Miss Kiana. But yes, there will be an elevator pitch, which is anywhere between 30 seconds to 1 minute long. So the full details of that will be shared with you on Thursday. And it is in a document that we shared earlier, but yes, it's like a short speech. Exactly. Nothing to prepare like screen sharing wise. There's no like slide deck or anything like that. It will all be an oral presentation. Michael, did that answer your question? Awesome. Any other questions?
If we have no more questions or anything, can we go?
You can exit the call, yes, if you filled out your survey and you don't have any questions. You are welcome to end your evening with us. Yes. Thank you, Jordan.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Where
You
can
too,
I
Michael.
access the what's it called? The videos for the calls that we have.
Yes, they're on our website. So Snigdha, I know you direct messaged me earlier. They're on our website, let's.soar.nj.org. So I could drop it in the chat, but all the videos are there for your viewing. I think they get posted, Rosie, like within like 24 hours after the class about. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, Snigdha. Thank you.
I just posted it in the actual, like the direct link to the fall series program page. So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll be able to see all of the videos that have been, it's a playlist. So it's essentially, it'll be one link. You click on the tab and it'll take you to the playlist of all the classes for the series so far. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for your participation today. Great job.
I have a quick question on okay, so you know how like when you go to like Old Navy or like Target or anything, towards checkout, they might ask you for like if you wanted to like invest in like a credit card or something like that. I don't know, like I don't remember what exactly the card was, but I know I like raised the question. How would that impact like your credit and like your credit score, everything like that? How would that kind of affect you? Those
Great
type of
question.
cards.
Layla, was that question for me?
Yeah.
Sorry, can you just repeat it one more time?
So the cards that they try to like offer you at like Old Navy, Target, like clothing establishments, those type of things, if you were to like get one, how would those type of cards affect you?
So it can positively impact you if you are paying on time and also managing that balance, like I said, within that 30% or less. Now, if you do get multiple of those credit cards, and let's just say you apply to Old Navy this month and then you apply to Target next month. Now that can negatively impact you because now that's 2 inquiries that's back to back on your credit report. And then also if you're shopping at both stores and almost maybe close to your balance or your limit, that can also impact you. So it all depends on how you personally personally decide to manage it, and also how soon you apply between the multiple cards, because that will happen. Multiple lenders will offer you. A lot of stores, they'll say you get 15% off. But thinking, okay, well, which one makes more sense? Doing maybe a little research in advance before being quick to sign on the dotted line. Great question.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
And Layla, really quickly, is everything okay? How are you feeling?
Yeah, it was just like it was like I had the chest pain for just a little while, and then it was like the I just got distracting for a while, because at first I was just like
Okay.
ignoring it, but it just got a little bit distracting. So I just wanted to tell my mom, and yeah,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
it's
Hold
kind
on
of
one
going
second,
away.
Layla. 1 second, Layla. Latoya, can you stop the recording, please?